Well, g'day fishers, Brent from Tackle World Port Stephens with this week's fishing report. And I reckon we're lucky we can go fishing at the moment, that's for sure. And also enjoy this weekend weather. It's going to be spring-like weather, so get amongst it, enjoy it, and obviously do your fishing in a safe manner and just enjoy that weather, that's for sure. So there you go. Now, appreciate all the support of the people coming into, well, not coming into the store, but calling up, clicking, collect, click, clack, whatever you do. But we really do appreciate it. We'll stay open and keep going at the moment. So it's, look, you know, as long as we can still go fishing, we'll keep the doors open and keep selling you our bait and products and whatever else. So we really, really do appreciate it, that's for sure, with small business at the moment. So although I've got to run around the shop and grab things for you, sometimes they might be the right thing, they might be the wrong thing or whatever else, we certainly do appreciate it, that's for sure. Anyway, let's get into the fishing. With the weather this week, it's been glamour days, especially in the afternoons the last few days. Absolutely glamour. In the bay, there's been some really nice fish around. Believe it or not, those longtails have appeared in the bay. Very, very unusual for this time of year. There are a few longtails about in the bay, that's for sure. There's a few guys have been standing inside the breakwalls, both the Anchorage and Nelson Bay, and seeing them bust them up on the incoming tide. Very finicky though. You've got to have a big cast at them and be well away. Can't troll through them. They are longtails, and they're normal longtails. They're not different longtails. So just be wary of the longtails when you're casting into them. Big long cast and away you go. Bread and butter species. A few flatties starting to turn up. That water's starting to warm a little bit, especially these nicer days. I think in the lower half of the bay it's about 16, 17 degrees. Back half of the bay though, it's a little bit chilly to about 14 degrees. So this down from Soldiers Point down is probably where I concentrate my fishing at the moment. There's been a few nice flatties around about Corlett, so if you're keen on doing that. This time of year, with that colder water, they're going to be a little bit slower. So you can bait fish, slow roll a brine pilly or a white bait, or a smaller soft plastic, even a hard body, just slowly work that hard body down. But there has been some nice flatties about at the moment. You'll work for them, but you will get them, that's for sure. The Anchorage breakwall, it's been fishing pretty well actually. Plenty of nice bream on the Anchorage breakwall and plenty of luderick there too, especially in that first bend of the big breakwall there. There's plenty of luderick there. Seems to be better than the Nelson Bay breakwall at the moment. So a little bit of red hot tip. Some luddos at the Anchorage breakwall at the moment. Up towards the back of Soldiers Point there are some bream around the rock walls there at the moment. Spoke to Smacky. He's been throwing some gulps around, getting some really nice bream up that way at the moment. Moving back down the bay there, some really nice whiting around for this time of year, particularly on Shoal Bay Beach there, on the eastern end of the beach, so from the wharf or a couple of 100 metres to the north of the wharf down, you'll find some nice whiting there. We do have a load of live beach worms at the moment, so if you're keen on doing that, there are a few whiting there. I think with the bigger tide later, I think that'll be better, especially after dark there. And just fish a really, really light leader, 4 pound leader, and don't cast far at all. Those bigger whiting are just hugging the very edge of the beach. So give that a go if you're keen on doing that, especially these nicer afternoons that we're going to have coming up this weekend. So some good fishing inside the bay at the moment if you're keen. On the rocks have been fishing really well. Even though the water's clear, there's been some really good tailor around. Southern end of Boxy's been really good for tailor. Likewise, Barry Park at the southern end of Fingal Point, and then down on 1 Mile Point and Cemetery Point down at Barooby there. So some really nice tailor hanging about at the moment if you're keen on doing that. Their cousins, the salmon, they're still about, so if you're keen on doing that, a few salmon off the rocks at the moment, definitely worth a shot. With the clearer water, there's definitely some good groper around, so if you're keen on your groper fishing, some blue groper hanging around and brown groper, obviously they're both the same, smaller and larger sizes, plenty of groper around at the moment. A few drum around, although the clearer water is making things a little bit difficult. We do have a little bit of swell there, so it might stir things up to give a few drummer to actually bite at the moment. And there's plenty of bream in the washes, that's for sure. Little stretch between Kingsley and Fisherman's Bay has been fishing really well for drummer and bream at the moment. So down that neck of the woods, if you're keen on a little bit of a walk, that's for sure. So beaches and rocks. So beaches, Fingal's been fishing really well for bream at the moment. So if you're keen on doing that, live worms, live nippers doing really well on the bream up that part of the way. You can also get down Barooby at the moment as well. So beaches have been fishing pretty well. A couple little dewies came in off Samurai this week, I heard. Smaller fish, 70 to 80 centimetres, but good fun if you're keen on doing that. We've got the full moon rising, so it'd be worth a shot for a dewie off the beach this weekend. Now the offshore scene. We have restrictions. I'll let you work the restrictions out because it's still in my head in a little bit, but you are allowed to go offshore, but you are restricted on where you can travel to, obviously the LGAs. It's all about the LGAs these days. That's going to stick in my head forever, LGA. Anyway, you are allowed out to do a little bit of offshore fishing with restrictions. In saying that, there's actually some really nice snapper around on the inshore. Adam Hodges has been throwing a few plastics around, getting some really nice fish. He's been fishing 12 to 16 metres of water. Lighter jig heads, gulps, working really well. So 1/6, 1/8 jig heads. He said that slower sing is the key to catching those reds at the moment. Same with Shano. He's been getting amongst the reds, both doing plastic sessions and bait sessions after work. So there are some really nice snapper around in the shallows, so if you're keen on doing that this weekend. Anyway, that's a short wrap up of a fishery report. I would say if you can, get out, exercise, and get out for a fish this weekend. I'm going to try my hardest to get out there. We'll see how we go. Anyway, we'll talk next week.